Good day, students. Welcome to Mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over section 4.1a of our Algebra 1 virtual text, focusing on how to calculate the slope of a line. In this presentation, we're going to look at problems where you're asked to find the slope of a line, where you're given the graph of a line with 2 points. Don't forget there are 5 practice problems at the end of this presentation that we'd like you to try out in order to demonstrate mastery of the contents of this presentation. Alright, before we get started, let's take a real quick review, a real quick look at what our slope triangle is. We're going to be using the slope triangle method to find the slope of the lines that we're given in this presentation. Of course, you can use the numerical computation to find it. That's another way, but we're going to be focusing on just the slope triangle graphical computation method here. All right. So when you're given a line and a pair of points, there are 4 possible ways that you can find the slope. Okay. You can either rise and run, or you can run and rise. That's possibility number 2. Or you can fall and back up, or you can back up and fall. Of course, this is if you have a positive slope scenario. All right. So what you just have to remember is as follows. From any point that you start from, so let's say you start from an arbitrary point here. From any point that you start, the direction of your move determines the sign. Okay. So if you're starting from this point, for example, and you say, you know what, I want to run and rise. Okay, so let's look at what that looks like. If you go in the upwards direction, this is the positive y direction. Okay, so when you go up, that's positive. And when you go to the right, that's positive also. Okay, so however units you move to the right or up, it counts as a positive move. The other direction has the opposite sign. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So if you go down or if you go backwards, these two counts as negative moves. All right, so the amount of units you go, you count that. And if you're going down or to the back, that counts as a negative. All right, so in order to calculate the slope, all we're doing is we're looking at the ratio between the vertical move, which is your rise, divided by your run. Okay, that will tell us exactly what the slope is. All right, let's take a look at some examples. So the instructions for the examples we're working on are as follows. We're to find the slope of the line through the given points. Okay. All right, let's take a look at number 1. We're going to be using the slope triangle to figure this out. Now, another thing that you can keep in mind is that you can use the orientation of the line to determine what the sign of your answer is going to be. So let's do a real quick review. You might remember Mr. Slope Guy. Let's call him up again. Mr. Slope Guy, we did a presentation on him some time back. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so what does Mr. Slope Guy help us to remember? Mr. Slope Guy helps us to remember the connection between the orientation of a line and the sign of the slope. All right, so there goes Mr. Slope Guy for you. So let's review what the different parts of Mr. Slope Guy's face means. Now, if you take a look at the eye on the left eye, it tells you that if a line is going up, the slope is going to have a positive sign. Okay, if a line is going down on the right eye, the line will have a negative slope. If a line is vertical, you see this right here, this is U for undefined. All vertical lines have undefined slopes, and horizontal line have what? 0 slopes. All right, so this is a nice quick coverage of Mr. Slope Guy, and we have a presentation on him. you just take a look at our site, you'll be able to go see more detail on how to use Mr. Slope Guy. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, so if we take a look at number 1, you notice that the line is going up from left to right, which shows that the answer is going to be positive. Very important. So let's use our slope triangle to figure out what the slope of this line is. So we're going to be going from the point on the left to the point on the right. So in order to do that, we're going to go either up or down. We're going to want to go up. So we're going to go 2 units up, 1, 2. This corresponds to my rise on the slope triangle, which is 2 units. And then I'm at the vertical position to the left of the second point. That's why I stopped there. And then I'm then going to proceed to run 2 units, 1, 2. And that's my run right there. My run is my horizontal move, which is 2 since I'm going to the right. Alrighty, so our slope is the ratio of the rise over run. So in this problem, the rise is 2 units and the run is 2 units, and we can reduce that. The final answer is positive 1, which harmonizes with what we indicated with the eye, the left eye of Mr. Slope Guy. All right, let's take a look at another example, number 2. We're going to do 4 examples, and then you have 5 practice problems to do. All right, so this one we're going to use a slope triangle again to figure out what the slope is. From left to right, the line is decreasing. If you look at the right eye of Mr. Slope Guy, it tells us that this line should have a what? It should have a negative slope. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if that's the case. So going down to a vertical line that goes across, a horizontal line that goes across this point, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So we're going to go down 4 units. So that's our rise, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a negative rise, so you can consider it a fall. So our rise is negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what's our run going to be? We're going to go to the right, 1, 2, 3. So our run is 3 units. And that's positive since it's going to the right. When you have your slope triangle, it's basically a right triangle that connects you from the first point to the second point. Okay, so there goes our slope triangle. So what is our slope going to be? Slope again is the ratio of the rise over run, the rate of change. So in this problem, our rise is negative 4 divided by 3. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the answer to question number 2. And we see that it agrees with the right eye of Mr. Slope Guy. All right, now let's take a look at question 3 and 4. We're going to be looking at 2 special cases here. All right, so in question number 3, we want to find the slope of this horizontal line. Now, if you know Mr. Slope Guy, you automatically know what the answer is. All right, so the horizontal line basically corresponds to the mouth of Mr. Slope Guy. So what does the mouth of Mr. Slope Guy tell you? All horizontal lines have a 0 slope. Okay, so just based on this mnemonic device that we have right here, you know that the slope is 0. Okay, but this standard calls for us to use the slope triangle to determine the slope. So that's exactly what we're going to do. All right, so we have a triangle right here. It's a degenerate triangle. It doesn't have any rise, so that's why it looks the way it does. So let's go ahead and find the rise and the run. So let's start with the rise. So starting from this point, your vertical move represents your rise. Okay, so since there is no rise on this line, our rise is going to be equal to 0 since there's no vertical move up or down. But we have run though. What is our run? Our run goes from here to there. Okay, so in this particular problem, our run, since we're going to the right, is going to be positive 2. All right, we have our rise and our run. Remember what the slope is. The slope of a line is a ratio of the rise divided by the run. So when we do that, we're going to have the rise, which is 0, divided by the run, which is 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So we can clearly see that our answer agrees with the mouth of Mr. Slope Guy. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. Number 4, we're looking for the slope of a vertical line. Okay, if you take a look at Mr. Slope Guy, you automatically know what the answer is. It's the nose, right? So this letter right here represents u. The slope of a vertical line is always undefined. So the slope of this line is undefined. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the slope. We need the rise and the run. So let's start from the point on the bottom to this point on the top. We have a rise here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a nice rise of 5 units. And then your run, from this point, we're looking at how many units do we move to the left or right. Since there's no move left or right, our run is going to be 0. Okay, so our slope is the ratio of rise over run. We already know that. So we have a degenerate triangle again. So our rise is 5 divided by the run, which is 0. If you divide a number by 0, the result is undefined. Okay, so there goes the answer to question number 4. And as we can see, it harmonizes with the nose of Mr. Slope Guy. A vertical line has undefined slope. All right, now it's your turn to do some practice problems. Okay, so at this time, we'd like you to attack these 6 practice problems. The instructions are the same. You're to find the slope of the given lines. The slope of the given lines. So the method of choice here will be your slope triangle method. Okay, so what we'd like you to do at this time, go ahead and pause this video presentation. Try out questions number 1 to 6. And when you're done, click on the playback button and we're going to reveal what the correct answers are. Alrighty, welcome back. Hopefully you had a chance to try out these practice problems. Let's take a look at what the answers are. For number 1, the slope is -3. For number 2, the slope is 5. For number 3, the slope is undefined. And then let's take a look at number 4. That's another special case. For number 4, the slope is 0. For number 5, the slope is 5/2. And then lastly, number 6, the slope is -1/3. Ladies and gentlemen, how well did you do in this 6 practice problems? Let us know in the comment section below how well you did. If there are any questions or clarifications that you have on these practice problems or what we went over in our presentation, let us know in the comment section below and we'll be more than glad to support you. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this tutorial. We really appreciate it. If you found the contents of this presentation helpful in your studies, do give us a like or thumbs up. Your positive feedback is extremely valuable to us. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We upload videos to our page on a regular basis. Tons of support resources, including your must-know formulas, can be found at mathgotserved.com. Do check it out. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.